All right. And now we're going live. I'm going to make sure that I share it too. Let's see. Am I waiting on anything else? Nope, we're live. Okay. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hi.
We are live. Hi, everybody who's tuning in live or watching this later. We are, as Grace Church, one of the things we're trying to do during this time is get good information to folks and help us stay connected. One of the toughest things for Grace Church right now has been not having the preschool meeting. It's been really hard. In fact, for me, I'm pretty much the only staff person still around, and it's hard to not hear following the leader, or other walking songs the whole day, which is usually part of how my work is accompanied. So we are trying to cope with missing one another and maybe get some good information or just some good stories about what this is like for preschool teachers or parents or folks like Miss Sam and Miss Anna. So would you two introduce yourselves? Tell us who you are, who you teach, and where you are hunkered down. Let's start, Sam, with you.
Hi, I'm Miss Sam. I teach the twos class at GCLC, and they keep me very busy. I do miss the loud, exciting giggles and, the earnest need for information every day, but it has been nice to have some quiet. I'm hunkered down here in Manassas. So.
Good. And you said earlier that that outside your apartment, your playground has still been super busy the whole time.
Yes, not so much social distancing there. Lots of screaming, coughing.
The normal everyday children.
Yeah, basically. So I still have access to children. Weird through the window kind of way.
Yeah.
Not creepy at all.
No, I get it. How about you, Miss Anna? Who are you? Where are you?
I'm Miss Anna. I am the signing teacher at Grace, and I am hunkered down in my home, also in Manassas. Unfortunately, my playground has been closed off for all the children. Our board of directors of our HOA decided that it was important to stick with what's going on and everything else. And because we weren't following the rules, we weren't following what we should be doing. We're going outside and riding bikes, and we're trying to stay as far away as we can. But they shut it down, and I understand it's hard for all of us. And it's really hard to look out my kitchen window and see caution tape wrapped around the play structure and seeing the swings rolled up to the very top so that nobody can touch it. It's sad, it's upsetting, but it's unfortunately the way that this is happening. This is what we have to do to keep everyone safe and everyone to try to follow the rules as much as we can. When we have small children, it's very difficult to understand it yourself and then also teach your children why they can't play outside and why they can't run and play tag with their friends. And I have a 7-year-old who goes to Bennett, and I have a 4-year-old who goes to Grace. And it's been interesting. We've been very open with what we're telling them, and we're all watching the news, and we're trying to, explain it to them in a way that they can understand, but also in a way that we can understand, because this is definitely not something anybody has seen in any of our lifetimes. And it's just crazy.
Yeah, definitely crazy. Sam, how are you holding up personally?
I'm doing well. It's, like I said, it's been nice to have some time to reflect. And I think a word that, continually comes to mind in, the current situation and, maybe hereafter is boundaries and what those mean to us. And, when it comes to our families, when it comes to our jobs, when it comes to our daily interactions, like what is actually important to us and what things could probably go on the back burner and how we are separating ourselves from those things. If, toxic environments, negativity, and just all kinds of things associated with that.
Good.
So I just continually think of the word boundary and how I can apply that to now and later on after this ends.
That's a good word. On Facebook, somebody named Suzanne is saying that Claire is asking, is that Miss Samm, over and over and over again? So it is Miss Samm.
Claire's actually my neighbor. Hi, Claire. I actually get to see her scream from her living room. She screams at me while I'm in my house. It's
nice.
Wonderful that I have a neighborhood that has a few of my Grace children in it that I get to say hello to from afar. But I have to tell you, the one thing that I really, really miss is the constant hugs and things that I really took for granted as a preschool teacher. And I just, I'm always trying to, I have only a 20-minute window to teach my kids some of the things that I'm learning for sign, and the things that I'm doing. So I only have 20 minutes. So I really oh, thank you for the hugs. Thank you for the hugs. Let's sit down. But now I'm like, we're going to take a 20-minute hug when we get back to the school. And we may not do sign for a couple days because we're going to need to hug it out.
Right.
Yeah. Samm, I know you were saying a couple of ways that you're keeping in touch with your students. Can you tell us about how that's working for y'all?
I have a classroom website. It's called Class Tag, and I've had it since, September. And periodically I try to add things that I think the parents would find helpful. Yesterday I included some scavenger hunts for, if you're still going out and about outside, safely, of course. Some indoor scavenger hunts I have. And I'm trying to post activities that they can do from the comfort of home, with things that they probably already have inside their homes. And just, sort of trying to convey that, you can stay busy and you can keep your children's hands busy while you're trying to do other things. And how important that is for them to not only get the attention from you in the process, but still remain stimulated. Because, everyone talks about how much, screen time is damaging. I feel like there's a 50-50 aspect to that. I think, sometimes it's useful for grounding. Some kids need that. On the other hand, I think so much of our society is based on screen learning and not learning in the way that we did when I was a kid. I used to take cardboard boxes and ride them down the stairs and do crazy things that, parents would be like, what is this? Just appreciating getting messy and doing things one-on-one with parents. And I think, parents don't get to have this time. So for them, I'm sure the novelty is worn off a little, but, from not being able to leave the house. But I think parents need to take this time to reflect on how much they are learning from you, even if it's you working at your desk. I suggested to a parent that was having trouble working from home last week that, give them their own workspace, kind of take advantage of that opportunity for them to see what you do. Even if it is over the screen and, typing, set them up with their own workstation, give them some scissors, give them busy work to kind of make them feel included, because that's all they really want. Even on the day-to-day at school, it's sort of doing your own ER triage and figuring out what you can do to make the best of the situation without, and while maintaining those boundaries, because they're important. I think parents need to be honest with their kids. And when they say, I need time to do this, and set a realistic time frame. And kids don't really have a concept of time. So maybe using timers would be helpful, because you can't just say, give me 5 minutes. I need to do this for 5 minutes. Well, show them what 5 minutes is, set a timer, give them some kind of concrete example of, because, as we all know, kids are very literal. They understand things in black and white, and you really have to fill in the blanks for them if you want them to understand your important needs and how you're conveying them. I'm not sure if any of that made sense, but
yeah, that's awesome. We've got, you guys know our kids, Hannah's 5, Miriam's 2, and we've had great experiences and really hard experiences so far with them being home. And timers was one, yesterday we got to the point where I had to say, okay, you need to go find something that you can do by yourself for 5 minutes. and Alexa was our friend. So I just yelled at Alexa to start a timer for 5 minutes. And that worked, and it lasted for 4.5 minutes, and that was enough time.
That's a healthy, realistic time frame for that age, and
yeah, that worked okay.
Like giving them concrete examples of what they can do for 5 minutes, like
right.
giving them clear options and saying you can read a book for 5 minutes, or you can use your tablet for 5 minutes. But being honest and saying, like, I need this boundary time, and I need to do something, and explaining it in that way so that they understand, and give them all the information, because that helps when they are not guessing what it is you have to do for 5 minutes, because 5 minutes seems like a long time for them.
Yeah.
What
I know you two are reaching out and making resources available. How are you? Well, I know every teacher I know is doing what they can to offer resources to families who and to their classes that they can't be with. So thank you to all teachers who are doing that. Anna, I know you've been doing that too. Can you tell us a little bit about how you've been doing that?
Yes, I have been making videos probably since September for all of my sign language classes, and helping parents to know what I'm teaching them, so that because the kids come home and they're signing away, and parents have no idea what's happening. So it's a great resource that we have on our Grace, not Facebook, on our website.
Yeah.
On the preschool section, you can go into the teachers part, and my videos are there. I've been making them from home as well. It's been challenging, like everything else. Everybody has challenges, and it's definitely something that is new to all of us, teaching from my home and not seeing the little faces and seeing them engaged and understanding what I'm talking about. So hopefully my videos are helping, and even if it's just to sing a song that they know and really get them to say, hey, wait, there's Miss Anna. She's the sign language teacher. She knows this song, and she's going to teach my mom this song online. And that's something that's really great. Yeah,
that's awesome. I've gotten to see those, and I do think also that lots of parents are thrust into this in a new way that we haven't really expected. So what would you say to parents that are feeling overwhelmed? Because I know that, like, both of you in a school day, or even just in one session, probably have moments when you feel overwhelmed. So when young people are overwhelming you, what do you do?
One thing that I do in my house right now that we've started doing is sticking to some kind of a schedule. Kids are creatures of habit, and they need that constant, what are we doing right now? What time is it? How long are we doing this? So even if it's just 9 o'clock, we're getting dressed. We're going to get dressed. We're going to make our beds. We're going to brush our teeth. And that's what we do at 9 o'clock. And they know that they know that is happening. And right. Keeping that constant schedule, trying to keep a schedule, is something that they thrive on, knowing what's going to happen next. Because a lot of the teachers in our school have their chart as to what happens, when it's going to happen, and what comes next. And that's something that you can just write down on a piece of paper. 9 o'clock, get dressed. 9:05, brush your teeth. And then playtime. And then just keep giving them that visual of a schedule is something that's helping out in our home. And I know works for quite a few others as well.
Yeah, that's great. Early on, when that was one of the first things that was getting shared a lot on Facebook and online, was different teachers having written like their suggested schedule, and I do think that that's been really helpful in our house too. Early on, I heard a parent say, "Can someone just do one of those for me too? Like, what's the adult version of that look like?" So I'll actually mention that we do have adult versions of that in the church, and I'm probably going to find a time to hop on live and talk about what's called a rule of life, which is not necessarily a daily schedule, but it's a way to say, like, these are the important things that I want to make sure are included in my day, no matter what, or in my week, no matter what, so that you can kind of prioritize things, so that you can be given the gift of some structure and discipline. Sam, I'm particularly interested with you because you work with 2-year-olds and I have a 2-year-old. When my 2-year-old is being a bad roommate,
A bad roommate. Okay, well,
what should I do?
well, I think a big part of what we do every day is just, like I said before, the word triage keeps coming to mind, because you have to, a big part of teaching is, most teachers would probably agree, is that you have to be 5 steps ahead all the time. You have to be interpreting when a meltdown could occur, what's causing a meltdown, why the behavior is occurring. I do ABA therapy as well. And a big part of that is figuring out triggers for behavior. Like, has my 2-year-old not napped for the last 2 days? Could they be exhausted and just need some sit down physical contact, or, hugs, story time? What am I not giving them in that moment that they need? I think we so often forget, because we're just, we're trying to figure out what's happening and we're in the moment, but we're not in the moment. We're not analyzing. We're not figuring out what is leading up to, are they at school? Is this the time that they normally eat? Are they hungry? I mean, more often than not with 2-year-olds, it's I'm hungry or I'm tired. A third thing, I'm overstimulated. Is there too much going on in the room? Is there too much background noise? Sometimes the TV, even if it's on in the background, is just an added sensory item in the room. And I think kids just they can't see when they're overwhelmed. The music is bothering them because it probably hasn't occurred to them. So a big part of your job as a parent, or our job as a teacher, is figuring out when and where those triggers might happen. We can prevent them. Like, does Miriam have a safe space she can go to if she's feeling like she's overwhelmed? And if not, maybe give her a little space, put some pillows up and just make that, put some books there, put off things that she likes, to make that space that is only for her. And I'm allowed to go into that space unless it's okay with Miriam, and just, like I said, create those boundaries and, help her understand that space that she can go to if she's just, having a tough time, and kind of help her unwind. I also suggested, which may sound a little outside the box, and not to be funny, if you, I know a lot of people are spring cleaning and bringing cardboard boxes, all the crazy stuff. If you have a large enough cardboard box, sometimes those are good grounding spaces for kids. They can make their own little fortress. They can sit inside the box with sensory items. They can color inside the box. They can make it, their own little masterpiece. And then something about, having the enclosure around them is grounding to them. So just think a big part of this experience for people will be figuring out how creative you can be, using what you have to make your space, workable for everyone. Everybody needs to have their designated downtime space where it's just their space and no one can interrupt that. And you need to be honest with your kids about, okay, I need this, designated amount of time. Show them that amount of time. Like I said, use the timers, make things more concrete, and help them understand, this is a situation for everyone. But if we're not taking these sort of precautions for triggers, then we're all driving each other crazy. And like I said, I have a unique, perspective on this because I'm by myself. So I don't have all these additional triggers and things, but it's giving me time to think about things that are potential triggers, how I can help parents sort of get around that.
Yeah. Sam, I'm wondering if you could talk about what it's like for you to be a single person too, if you're comfortable with it, because a lot of folks that are watching, a lot of our church are also single folks. So
Right.
What's that been like for you? Have you enjoyed the solitude, or is it driving you crazy?
No, I see. I kind of, that's what I do. I like the reflection and the time to think about sort of my place in the world, and how I can enrich, how I can contribute in a meaningful way, and use my talents in that way. And even after this crisis is over, what am I doing, as a single person, to use my time, my talents, and help people anywhere, even secluded from my bedroom. So.
Well, and I know just because you and I are kind of chat buddies, that you also are getting time in for for some serious boxing training and things like that.
Yes.
So.
I'm channeling my inner Rocky Balboa currently. I didn't today. I haven't yet. So, but yeah, it's been kind of nice to get some aggression out in a healthy way and, use that as an excuse to get up and move around and not be completely sedentary. So,
Anna, what are you doing personally to like for catharsis, to like let out aggression or anxiety or things like that? I think any coping mechanism is acceptable. We probably have healthy ones and unhealthy ones, but what's it like for you, Anna?
It's been very difficult. I am a little bit of a social person.
No way.
A little bit. And so this has really been challenging, to not be able to go to church and volunteer and go to school and teach the kids and go to Target. I just want to go to Target. I was so proud of myself. New Year's resolution, I'm not going to go to Target as much. And I'm like, please, I just want to go to Target. And but what, I put pants on today. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
They may be sweatpants, but I put them on. And I've been baking, and I'm currently dehydrating some banana chips for the kids. And
Awesome.
I'm doing some things like I'm having home ec class today. Ellie learned how to bake cookies, and that's something that we were able to do together. And it's really, really hard. It's hard to not be with people and see the people that I'm used to seeing every day, and relying on FaceTime is great, but I need people. It's been tough.
Yeah.
But I think an important part of this that I keep trying to remind myself of is that, not to interrupt what you're saying, but how much more difficult this could be if we didn't have FaceTime, if we didn't have access to power and heat. And, they always say, that's the cliche expression, it could always be worse. And I think we're just fortunate that this has happened at a time where we can just call someone and FaceTime and say, hey, what's up? And we're not 100% secluded. Whereas, maybe members of the elderly population, they aren't as connected because it's just not their, it's not their way. It's not, what's familiar to them. So for them, they might be suffering a little more than we are because we kind of have the know-how to say, hey, let me get on the phone and FaceTime. And so I think it's important that we remember, how much worse this could be, not to dampen the situation any, but.
Yeah, I think that one of the things that I've appreciated coming from other people who are like religious leaders is when folks have been able to say, both things are true. Yes, it could be worse, and it sucks. I think that's part of what like the meaning of grace is for me. It's grace to have empathy for folks who are going through difficult times, and grace to enough to admit that it's hard and
Right.
that you're not having that great of a time. I was listening to this one podcast by these people that I really love to listen to, and they referred to an article written in The Cut by a woman named Kimberly Harrington, and she said, now's the perfect time to lower the parenting bar. I pulled up just a quick quote about that. She says, hello, we're in the middle of a global pandemic with a global workforce with kids who've been raised to communicate with their friends via 50-second videos posted on global platforms. This isn't the situation that lends itself to instantaneous platinum level Little House on the Prairieing. Now is the time to embrace what work from home parents learned long ago. It's not about winning, it's about striving for bronze. She says, it's a perfect time to also realize how much we've been trained to perform parenting. And it's a good time to give it all up. It's time to take this parenting parade float and strip it down to just 4 wheels, a floor, and a functioning steering wheel. And I really appreciate that. And I think that that's also something that I've seen you all and all of our preschool teachers be able to do, to have, to have a plan, to work hard and aim for excellence on it, and to understand that that a lot of what matters most doesn't have to go with the plan. It has to do with how
100%.
Absolutely.
how
That
you're
is true.
connecting in the moment.
Absolutely. If your children are fed, alive, and clean, that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's just that simple. And we don't have to teach your children algebra. You don't have to teach them these crazy, you don't have to have these crazy expectations for your children. Just be in the moment and just let it happen. If they want to be on their tablets for an hour and give you an hour of wine time, then take that wine time.
Yeah. I think that's something I've learned from you all, and I appreciate that a lot. And I appreciate all that you're doing to try to equip parents in the meantime. It means a lot to know that you continue to be a support for us. Grace Church wants to continue to support you too. And I guess I wonder if you could also share with us what it's like, what it's like for you to be a teacher without a classroom right now, so that we can hear what it's like for teachers across the country, across the world, who are not able to kind of answer your calling at this time.
I think for me, it has given me a greater opportunity to be creative. I think, this time of the year, a lot of teachers might agree in saying that, the burnout begins to be real. The creativity just isn't quite there. You're just getting by the day to day. You make these plans and they don't go accordingly, like you were saying, and putting all this extra pressure on ourselves to get through to the end of the year and push forward and keep going. And, at the same time, keeping the kids engaged and figuring out how we can do everything. And for me, I think it's been nice not to have to do everything right now, and to just explore how creative I can get from the comfort of my home, and say, maybe tomorrow I'll do a video of me making noodles and just see what happens, and post that and let the kids see me in my natural element, and just be there. I'm not going to do anything crazy, but I think having that one-on-one with them and giving them an opportunity for that, I think will help. And just still teaching, but from afar, and taking advantage, like I said, of the creativity and all of the things that I take for granted daily when I'm just trying to get by. So
thank you for that. How about you, Anna?
What's funny is that right before all of this happened, we can tell that the children were a little antsy, a little
crazy,
out of sorts, a little crazy. And we were all saying, wow, we didn't have any snow days. We really need a spring break to give these kids a break. And boy, did we get it. Oh my. And I just, as we all said, oh, we need a break. We need a little break. These kids will be able to come back refreshed and whatever. And now there's the looming possibility that we're not going to get to come back. And it makes me sad. And it's like, I'm a very positive person, but it really does make me sad that if we don't come back to school, I may not see some of these kids, because some of these kids were junior kindergarten and they're going to go off to kindergarten and I may not see them again. And that's the hardest thing as a teacher, to know that this craziness wasn't happening 2 weeks ago when we were all almost ripping our hair out thinking, oh, we really need a break. We really need a break. And we got it. And I will never take that for granted again. I feel that I took it for granted, and I took seeing these kids every day and knowing that they're going to be back on Monday, when I thought we were going to be back last Monday, and we may not come back. And it's heartbreaking that I may not see these kids. And hopefully the parents can see the videos and the kids can remember and see me and have a little bit of a good time with the things that they learned and the things that I taught them and the things that I'm going to continue to teach them from home, and hope that if there was a way we can communicate through email or FaceTime or whatever it is that we can do to still keep us together if we don't get to go back to school. We need to have some kind of big old party for all these kids that are going to be graduating junior kindergarten and off to a whole new, a new adventure. And I just want to be able to see them, tell them how I feel and how much I love them and how much I'm going to need those hugs. And it's just, it's important. And boy, do we take it for granted.
I think it gives us a whole new challenge for communication as well. Like, how are we going out of our ways to check on people and branch out? And how are we communicating what we know in a meaningful way, and just keeping those contacts? And, you know, I have been reading some, you know, posts on Facebook and other things from parents saying, oh, we started having, you know, we went back to old school pen pals, and some of those kind of things that have been brought back, like blast from the past style. But, you know, not that I'm encouraging people to, you know, send germy notes to other people. But
yeah, don't lick the envelope. Use a sponge.
Don't lick it. Yeah. Wash your hands. But I just like the way that people are trying to be creative and make the best of our communication challenges. So
and that's again another hard part of preschool, because my 4-year-old can't write a letter, so she draws pictures for the people that she loves, and that seems to help her. And it seems, and it's been helping me, knowing that she's thinking about all of these people that she knows she can't see, and she kind of understands what's happening, and at the same time doesn't. And at the same time, I don't understand what's happening. And at the same time, it's just, there's just so many layers of confusion and uncertainty that this has brought upon us, that really makes you reflect about everything that is going on in the world right now.
Right.
So I wonder if before we hop off, if each of you could offer one more arrow to put in parents' quivers or individuals' quivers, but particularly if we've got preschoolers, what's one activity thing to do, and what's one thing for parents to remember through this? What's one activity and one thing to remember? Sam, can we start with you?
Before I get to an activity, I think overall just being forgiving, you know, forgive each other for the times you've lost your tempers. Be forgiving of your kids for being kids, because sometimes we forget, you know, we get caught up as adults being like, oh, we don't jump on the couch, we don't do these things, you know, you're driving me crazy, and all, you know, I don't know what your choice words are, but I think you just, like you said, you forget to be caught up in the moment and remember what it is like to be a kid, and to not have those giant boundaries placed on yourself, and saying, you know what, this isn't a regular thing we do, but let's have yes days. Like, okay, yes, today you can jump on the couch. And this might set up problems later in the future, but, you know, the future is not promised. Those behaviors can be corrected, you know. Just be forgiving and just allow things that you probably wouldn't on the norm. You know, make those pillow forts, do things, get involved, and, you know, don't watch from a distance, because I think so much, you know, I think parents put these unrealistic expectations on themselves and say, yeah, I can't just make a fort blanket right now because I have all these adult things I have to do. Well, forget the adult things for a couple of minutes. You know, give yourself a couple of minutes each day to just say, you know what, let's do something with this cardboard box. Let's do something with these blankets, and, you know, let's make a memory. Like, take advantage of the few times that you'll be able to do that. And remember that your child is 2 or 4 or however old. And even when it comes to teenagers, just remember what it was like to be that age, and how you might need some more space than a 2-year-old needs. And just be mindful of that, and just give yourself that forgiveness, and, you know, just be in the moment, be a kid. So
thank you. Anna, how about you?
What I'd like to offer to parents is to use the resources that are all over the interwebs. There are so many resources out there for you to click on videos, and we've been doodling with Mo Willems. Can you believe it? Like, there's so many opportunities out there for you to get engaged and learn yourself. Not only from the videos that are on Grace's preschool website, along with my own and the STEAM teacher, Miss Katrin, and Miss Lauren, who does our music. We all are working really hard to make sure that we can keep your children engaged and keep them learning as much as we can. And please utilize those resources that we have for you set in place, and just take everything day by day, moment by moment, as much as you can, and just breathe. Just breathe.
Yeah.
Well, I want to offer a closing prayer. Do either of you have particular folks that you'd like us to pray for today, or as this is going on?
I just feel like prayer for those that might feel more disconnected, because, like I said, they don't have the same kind of technological capabilities, and those that may not have access to those things. Even children, that might be home now and do not have access to the internet and maybe can't connect with their friends. Just kind of keep those in mind that may feel more disconnected than others.
All of my family is in Pennsylvania and New York and New Jersey and everywhere except for here. So if you could shout out a prayer to all of my family that I can't be with and see and visit, that would be really awesome.
Absolutely. I'll offer a prayer now. Let us pray. Almighty God, I'm so grateful for Miss Samm and for Miss Anna and the chance and the technology that you've given us to be able to connect in this way, and to remember the teachers and the preschoolers and their families who are impacted by this pandemic. I thank you for the ministry that all of our preschool teachers offer every day and have continued to offer, even though they can't do it in person. I thank you for Miss Susan and for the rest of the administrative staff of Grace Children's Learning Center, and for the staff, administrators, and teachers of every other preschool, whether in a church or beyond, that are being impacted during this time. You have heard our concerns and our joys. This has been, in some ways, a gift, a chance to be reflective, a chance to pay attention to one another, a chance to connect in different ways, and a chance for those of us that are parenting to be with our kids for more time, in different times, and in different ways as well. We thank you for the blessings that are coming even in the midst of all of this. And we ask for your help with the ways in which this is unforeseen, unexpected, and for which we are unprepared. This is more than we can handle. And so give us faith to depend on you. I ask that you send grace and faith to every parent and child, that you send grace and faith to every teacher without a classroom, to every teacher and other educator who are having income interrupted by this or feeling unsure about that, to all the schools and small businesses that aren't yet sure how this is going to all shake out. We ask that you send to them and to all of us grace for ourselves and for how we are with one another, and faith that this is bigger than us, but you are bigger than this, and that your grace is sufficient. We ask all of this with respect for the many names by which your children cry out to you, but I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I love you both, and I'm thankful that I've gotten to keep in touch with you, and that I've gotten to kind of become friends with both of you as I've been at Grace Church, and I miss seeing you day to day, but I'm thankful for the ways in which we're keeping in touch, and you're keeping in touch with everybody in the community. And I blame Grace Children's Learning Center on why every day I think of or hear the Excavator song at least 12 times a day. So that forever, the coronavirus pandemic will be accompanied by the Excavator song, thanks to you.
I want to thank you for being our facilitator and helping us to get information to each other, and for helping us to stay a community, a close community. And whether it's through Facebook or the internet and our websites and our prayers, I thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. We may hop back on, depending on how long this gets. We may hop on and say, okay, really, now we're really desperate. Give us some stuff. But you've been a big help today for me and for our community. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.